Today's episode covers the controversial subject of online financial fraud and scams. And my guest today is Gerry Perez, Managing Director in London for Interactive Brokers UK. Gerry, welcome.
Thank you, Andrew, and for having me on such an important topic.
Let's tell the audience about this one. I get a lot of fraudulent emails in my inbox these days, and I like to think that I'm smart enough to not fall foul of malicious emails and links to websites. But I have to admit, these are professionals and the stakes are high. But Gerry, what do scammers and fraudsters want from customers? What's the end game?
So, scammers and fraudsters are the people behind financial crimes. They use very deceptive tactics, such as identity theft and cybercrime, to gain access to your personal information and financial assets. They will try to contact you through various means, such as email, phone, social media, or posts, with convincing but ultimately false narrative. It's crucial to know about their tactics to be able to protect yourself. This is a material problem. It's not just about money, but it's about protecting you. And we all must work together to protect each other.
So, Gerry, can you give me a couple of examples of how this works?
Sure, scammers use many deceiving tricks and they will target anyone, anywhere, at any time. A couple examples could be cloning websites, a form of phishing. Scammers will clone legitimate firms' websites and make public URL addresses which seem similar to the legitimate company, but they are not. Website cloning tends to be quite sophisticated and involves a number of factors throughout the process. If you look carefully, you will find slight changes to the domain address. Thereafter, the aim is to target individuals by emails or other means to get them to visit the cloned site and share their personal details, or worse yet, send their assets. How can you protect yourself? One way is to check your local regulator's website, like the FCA, for public notifications about reported clone sites acted unlawfully. Yet another means is to check the regulator's website against URLs provided to you before you decide to engage or send assets. Legitimate companies must provide their URL to the regulator, which is on a public database for you to validate. Next, investment groups or social media sites that purport to be legitimate companies, but again are not. These groups make public posts claiming to offer a surefire investment with large returns. For example, stock winner, you get 700% profit with payments at the end of the year. If you follow their strategy, you win. However, you have to turn over your money first to scammers. They ask you to send money to their third-party website away from the legitimate company. And once you do, they have you. How do you protect yourself? Watch out for red flags. For instance, don't fall for these false claims of getting rich schemes, especially on social media. Don't turn your identity or assets until you are sure you're dealing with a representative of a regulated financial services company that can be verified with your local regulator.
Gerry, let's talk about what Interactive Brokers does and what they don't contact clients about. What should investors look out for in communications from Interactive Brokers?
IBKR does not cold call consumers to offer services or products or make investment recommendations. IBKR does not directly interact with customers through social media channels. IBKR's preferred way to communicate with its customers is through our secure client portal for customers to feel safe and secure.
Tell me about the type of things that Interactive Brokers UK does not contact the customer about.
We will never contact you and ask you to share your login details. We will not contact you to get remote access to your computer or mobile device. IBKR does not give advice as it's an execution-only broker, so we will never call you and give you advice.
Gerry, regardless of your local broker, can you outline some of the reasons cited by scammers to get in touch with investors?
Sure, one of them is pump and dump or ramp and dump schemes. In these schemes, the scammers try to manipulate a stock, usually a low cap stock. The scammers will first buy the stock and then they spread false narrative or misleading information through various means, social media, or they'll contact you through cold calling to create a buying frenzy. Then they will leave a voicemail saying, I've got an inside tip from an insider. Go buy the stock now. Don't wait. It's all about urgency. The scammers then dump their own shares at a very high price and stop hyping the stock, leading to investors to lose money as the stock price falls. All these recommendations may be presented as hot information or inside tips from people inside a company and made available to you to a form of being privileged or having the opportunity to act upon them. However, it's all a scam. Scammers often take full advantage of any tactics to spread false or misleading information about a company's stock price. For example, trading recommendations, which are frequently spread through social media. Beware, be careful, and be cautious.
And Gerry, I've heard a lot about fraudsters depriving investors of hard-earned pension plans. What's that about?
Yes, as reported by the Financial Conduct Authority in the United Kingdom, a quarter of consumers would consider withdrawing money for their pension early than plan to cover the cost of living. However, these individuals then become a target of scammers. What they do is they lure these pension holders by telling them, I've got a surefire way to actually take your earnings that you've worked so hard to save and put them in these outlandish claims of surefire returns. Moreover, they'll go to the pension holder before they liquidate and they say, I've got a great tax scheme that allows you to take your money before retirement and still take advantage of not paying taxes. All of these are scams, so you have to be aware. The way you do so is make sure that you deal with legitimate companies or representatives of those companies. A lot of regulators, like the Financial Conduct Authority, hold a database on their website where you could check the identity of individuals that work for legitimate, authorized, and regulated companies. In addition, you could check the details of these companies. So take advantage of the FCA website or other regulators' websites that allow you to cross-reference to validate.
And Gerry, when I was researching for this particular episode, I saw the term Holy Grail. Tell the audience about Holy Grail trading systems and why these are scams.
Sure. So the Holy Grail is a deceptive scheme, which leads to victims taking part of a strategy that's going to make them money. Scammers will provide guaranteed returns. However, there's nothing guaranteed in financial services. Remember, you have to always be very careful. So the scammer lures you by giving you the cheese, as we will call it. The victim unknowingly takes the bait and they start to now provide the scammer information. That could be personal information. The scammer then starts to earn the trust of the individual. All of this is something that you have to be very careful. Once this happens, they have the trust of the victim. So now what they do is basically lure you into transferring over your assets, giving them access to your bank accounts. And this is where the victim falls for these tactics. And all of a sudden, this Holy Grail actually turns out to be a fully deceptive scheme to take your money.
Finally, then, Gerry, where should investors look for more information if they do suspect a scam?
Great question. Again, please go to your local regulator, go to your local police websites, which also provide you information how to protect yourselves from all these types of scams. Use a simple framework. Confirm the identity of the company or the individual on the other end. Strengthen your digital defense, which includes strong passwords, security software. Education is at the forefront of protecting yourself, so stay informed. Do a little research. Regulators' website on search engines to learn a little bit more. Keep an eye on your personal information, like your statements. Regularly review them. Make sure there's no activity that you're unaware. And if you do come across something that's suspicious, promptly report it to your local police or regulator. Be vigilant, make use of education, be proactive. This will keep you safe. And remember, these financial crimes, this is not a victimless crime. These are mothers, fathers, siblings, young, old, and vulnerable people. You need to be engaged to help stop the fraud and work together. We need to stop it as an industry and a marketplace, and we really need your help.
Gerry Perez, Managing Director at Interactive Brokers UK. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon for joining me.
Thank you, Andrew, and all the best.
All right, thank you. And thanks to the audience for listening in. And don't forget to subscribe to IBKR Podcasts wherever you download your podcasts from.
The analysis in this material is provided for information only and is not and should not be construed as an offer to sell or the solicitation of an offer to buy any security. To the extent that this material discusses general market activity, industry, or sector trends, or other broad-based economic or political conditions, it should not be construed as research or investment advice. To the extent that it includes references to specific securities, commodities, currencies, or other instruments, those references do not constitute a recommendation by IBKR to buy, sell, or hold such investments. This material does not and is not intended to take into account the particular financial conditions, investment objectives, or requirements of individual customers. Before acting on this material, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular circumstances and, as necessary, seek professional advice.